Mr. Darryl David.
Madam Deputy Speaker, since inception, the Singapore Armed Forces has adopted the military doctrine of deterrence and forward defense. While Singapore has never sought to be a military aggressor, we have never shied away from the need to build a technologically advanced, modern and competent SAF. Indeed, today I'm proud to say that the SAF is a well-regarded fighting force with possibly the best air and naval forces in the region. While Singapore has excelled in our preparedness and readiness in conventional jungle and urban warfare, the strategies and tactics of war have changed considerably in recent years. To tackle the multitude of new security threats, the SAF has begun its transition from a third-generation army to a fourth-generation one, fortifying its capabilities to confront more complex defense challenges with more modern technologies and newer equipment. I am thus happy to learn that SAF has continued its earlier trajectory of boosting its cyber and digital defense capabilities with the proposed setting up of the Digital and Intelligence Services, or DIS. The setup of the DIS is thus very timely in providing the much-needed safeguard to SAF's network assets as SAF transits in earnest to a firm fighting 4G force. In today's network world, countries face a multitude of security threats on different fronts. While the potential of open armed conflict remains high, the actual possibility of countries engaging in hostile confrontations and conventional warfare openly, as what's been happening in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, thankfully remains low. A more commonplace security threat in the 21st century is the invisible cyber warfare waged by state and non-state actors against countries, using cyber weapons that mask the identity of the aggressor. Such cyber attacks often go unnoticed by the man in the street, as these attacks happen in cyberspace with low signatures in the physical realm, leaving no visible damages to real-world infrastructures and assets until they actually happen. As Minister has said, the battleground has changed. It is precisely because of the invisible and masked nature of such attacks that makes them so dangerous. We tend to underestimate the devastating real-life damages that such attacks could cause and could possibly be underprepared for widespread cyber terrorism or hacktivist attacks that assail multiple soft cyber targets simultaneously. While I agree wholeheartedly with the setting up of DIS, I would like to ask, where does the jurisdiction of DIS begin and where does it end, especially regarding cybersecurity matters and threats that could have an impact at the national level? Unlike a physical infrastructure where we can adopt a more sectoral approach in defense, it's a little bit more challenging to do so in the case of cyber defense. Also, a network attack on the SAF can potentially cripple multiple systems at the same time and could possibly be difficult to isolate and contain. In the unlikely or the unfortunate event of a cyber attack on SAF system, which we hope would never happen, who would ultimately be responsible for the defense of the system? Would it be SAF's Defense Cyber Organization, DCO, the Cyber Defense Group, CDG, that's under SAF's Command, Control, Communications, Computer and Intelligence, which is C4I? Or would the defense be coordinated by SAF's Digital Ops Tech Center, DOTC, which has the mandate to partner with the defense tech community, DTC, and whole of government digital agencies to secure SAF system? And if the plan is for all of the above SAF units and platforms to be coordinated under DIS, how would DIS liaise with the Cybersecurity Agency, CSA, who is responsible for coordinating the whole of government defense? I hope the Minister could provide some clarity on this later. Madam Deputy Speaker, I'd like to shift my focus now from the digital and virtual realm to the physical and natural world. The second part of the bill proposes amendments to the Military Manoeuvres Act of 1905 to permit the SAF to carry out military manoeuvres in catchment areas with the approval of the Public Utilities Board. The catchment areas in Singapore generally comprise the majority of our reservoirs and natural landscape. These areas contain a diverse range of flora and fauna, many of which are still possibly awaiting discovery. For example, 9 plants, fungi and algae were discovered or rediscovered in 2021, with more than half of these discovered in Bukit Timah Nature Reserve. NParks also reported in 2017 that 480 new species of flora and fauna were discovered or rediscovered in Singapore between 2012 and 2017. I would like to ask if allowing military maneuvers in catchment areas would impact Singapore's biodiversity adversely. Does MINDEF plan to do any environmental impact studies or engage the relevant agencies and perhaps even nature groups with regard to the impact of such military exercises on the catchment area so we can minimize the ecological footprints of such activities on our natural environment? Also, how does MINDEF intend to balance military needs, which are critical and crucial, and I support, with public interests, given that our catchment areas are family-friendly leisure locations frequented by leisure hikers and families who are seeking a respite from urban life? So what considerations would MINDEF have taken to ensure the public interest is catered for in these areas before embarking on such proposed maneuvers? Madam Deputy Speaker, as we celebrate NS 55 this year, we are reminded of the contributions and sacrifices that our servicemen and servicewomen have made to protect Singapore. I'm personally grateful to all of those who have served for their contributions to the nation and hope that the proposed amendments in the bill will contribute to the further strengthening of our armed forces and other services. My clarifications notwithstanding, I end my speech in firm support of the bill. Thank you, ma'am.